It was a cold winter morning in January 2025. News channels across the country were flooded with shocking reports. A massive cave-in had occurred at one of Tesla's lithium mines in Nevada. Over 24 miners were trapped thousands of feet underground, their fate uncertain. Rescue operations were underway, but the situation was dire. The tunnels were unstable, the oxygen levels were dropping, and time was running out. Elon Musk was in a board meeting at Tesla headquarters when he received the call. His face went pale as he listened to the report. These were his people, men and women who had risked their lives to extract the resources that fueled his ambitious projects. Without a second thought, Musk stood up and declared, "Cancel everything. I'm going to Nevada." His team tried to dissuade him, citing the dangers of entering the collapse zone. But Musk was adamant. "If I'm asking them to work in these conditions, the least I can do is stand with them when things go wrong," he said firmly. Within hours, Musk was on a private jet, heading straight to the mine. The usually confident billionaire now wore a look of grim determination. As the jet descended over the snow-covered Nevada landscape, the severity of the disaster became evident. Smoke billowed from the mine entrance, and rescue vehicles were scattered across the site. Families of the trapped miners huddled together, their faces etched with fear and desperation. Musk wasted no time. He approached the head of the rescue operations, who briefed him on the situation. "The collapse has blocked the main tunnel. We're working on drilling a secondary shaft, but it could take days. Oxygen levels are dropping rapidly. We don't have that kind of time." Elon's mind raced. "What about the tunnel-boring machine prototypes? Can we deploy one here?" he asked. The rescue chief hesitated. "It's untested for this kind of operation. The risk is enormous." "I'll take that risk," Musk declared without hesitation. "Get the machine here now." As night fell, the rescue team prepared to deploy the massive boring machine, a gleaming beast of engineering that Musk had personally overseen the development of. But there was one problem. The unstable tunnel walls meant someone had to manually guide the machine through the initial descent. "I'll do it," Musk said, his voice resolute. Gasps rippled through the crowd. "Sir, that's suicidal," one engineer protested. "If the walls collapse, you'll be buried alive." "I know the machine better than anyone," Musk insisted, "and I'm not asking anyone to do something I wouldn't do myself." The rescue team scrambled to prepare, and Musk climbed into the cockpit of the machine. His hands gripped the controls tightly as the cold air pressed in around him. Each movement felt heavier than the last. The tension was suffocating. He had built this machine, had designed it to mine resources from the earth. But today, it had to become a lifeline. As the machine roared to life, the weight of the moment was overwhelming. Musk's thoughts briefly flashed to the families of the miners, waiting outside in the freezing cold. Would they ever see their loved ones again? Would Musk's risky plan work? But the thought that cut through it all was simple. He couldn't leave them behind. Minutes passed like hours. The machine moved inch by inch, the tunnel walls trembling under the strain. Musk's eyes were fixed on the path ahead. He could feel the earth shifting beneath him with every turn, the risk mounting with every second. Suddenly, the machine jolted to a stop. Musk's heart skipped a beat as the walls around him groaned ominously. A deafening crack echoed through the tunnel, and for a moment, it felt like the entire mountain was about to collapse. "Sir, the walls are too unstable," came a voice over the comms. "You need to pull back now." But Musk didn't hesitate. "We're so close," he muttered, barely audible over the roar of the drill. With one final push, he steered the machine forward, the roar of the drill filling the air as they burrowed deeper into the earth. Sweat dripped down his face as the pressure mounted. The walls trembled, but Musk held his ground. It felt like an eternity before the breakthrough came. The drill finally pierced through to the other side, and the first signs of life emerged. Distant voices, faint but unmistakable, reached Musk's ears. His heart raced with hope. They were alive. "Get the rescue team down here now!" Musk shouted, his voice hoarse from the adrenaline. The rescue team rushed in, pulling miners from the rubble. One by one, they emerged, battered but alive. Each survivor was met with cheers, tears, and hugs as they were pulled to safety. Musk watched in silence, his eyes scanning the survivors, a sense of relief washing over him. His body was exhausted, his mind numb from the effort, but nothing had ever felt so fulfilling. He had done it. They had done it. But as the adrenaline began to wear off, reality set in. Musk stood by the entrance of the mine, watching the miners and their families, still processing what had just happened. He had risked everything, not just his life, but his legacy, for these people. It wasn't just a rescue operation anymore. It was a moment that would define his leadership, his purpose, and ultimately, his place in history. The media soon arrived, swarming the site with cameras and microphones. Reports of his heroic actions spread like wildfire. Elon Musk had saved the lives of the miners, risking his own life to ensure their survival. He was hailed as a hero, but for Musk, the praise meant little. What mattered was that those who had been trapped below the Earth's surface had made it out alive. As the rescue efforts concluded, and the last of the miners were safely evacuated, Musk took a moment to reflect. The world had witnessed a new kind of leadership, one that went beyond business or innovation, one that showed true empathy and determination in the face of danger. The next morning, after the media frenzy had subsided, Musk returned to his hotel room. He looked at the photos of the rescue, the faces of the miners, the moments of relief, the hugs and tears. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to truly feel the weight of what had just happened. He sat quietly for several minutes, just breathing. There were no words to describe the depth of his exhaustion, but there was something else, something profound. The human cost of innovation, the price of progress. The next few days were filled with interviews and press conferences. Musk spoke to the media, his usual confidence tempered by a newfound humility. "This was a team effort," he said repeatedly. "We were all in this together. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time." But deep inside, Musk knew the truth. It wasn't about being in the right place. It was about making the hard decisions when others hesitated. It was about the lives of those miners, about the families waiting outside. It was about taking responsibility, even when the risk seemed impossible. As the days turned to weeks, the miners who had been rescued began to speak out about Musk's bravery. Some of them described how they had heard him shouting down the drill shaft, urging them to hold on just a little longer. Others spoke about how, despite the perilous conditions, Musk had never wavered, never doubted the mission. "He didn't just lead from the top," one of the miners said. "He led from the front, and that's why we're all here today." For Musk, these words meant more than any accolade. It wasn't about the fame, it wasn't about the recognition, it was about knowing he had made a difference, that his actions had truly saved lives. As he sat alone in his office, reflecting on the aftermath of the rescue, he realized something profound. This was the kind of legacy he had always wanted, one of courage, of standing by those who needed him, and of never backing down when the stakes were highest. In the weeks that followed, the world continued to watch, and Musk returned to his projects with renewed focus. But the lessons of that day stayed with him. His vision for the future, for the people he worked with, for the impact he wanted to leave on the world, had been reshaped. And in a way, this rescue operation had defined the next chapter of his journey. One not just about technological breakthroughs, but about the humanity that drives them. As he looked out over the snowy Nevada landscape from his office window one final time, Musk made a silent promise to himself. This was just the beginning. The world had seen a new kind of leader that day, and there was so much more to do. Weeks turned into months, and the memory of the rescue continued to resonate in Musk's mind. As Tesla and SpaceX moved forward with their ambitious projects, Musk carried the lessons learned from Nevada with him. He found himself making decisions with a newfound understanding of the value of human life, the weight of leadership, and the depth of personal responsibility. He often thought about the families he had seen huddled together on that cold night, waiting for news. He thought about the miners who had lost so much, and the workers who had helped him through the darkest hours. Their lives had been altered forever, and so had his. For the first time, Musk realized that his purpose was not just to create a legacy of technological advancement or wealth. It was to build a legacy of humanity, to show the world what true leadership looked like in times of crisis. And though the days would continue to pass, Musk knew one thing for certain. He would never forget the lessons learned from that fateful day in Nevada. Those lessons would shape the future of his companies and his legacy. In the end, it wasn't just about changing the world. It was about making the world a better place, one life at a time.